Hello to my Libra and Libra risings. Happy eclipse season, and let's talk about the full lunar eclipse that's happening in Scorpio on either the 15th or 16th of May, depending on what part of the world you're in. I'm in the southern hemisphere, so it's happening on the 16th. The moon's full at 2:14 p.m. in the afternoon, but the eclipse is at its fullest at 1:41. So, this is pretty big stuff to talk about. This is going to be the very beginning of a process of shedding. When a lunar eclipse happens, it's like a supercharged full moon. It's kind of, the shifts are noticeable. The shifts are reverberating through the collective as well, so everyone in some way or another will definitely sense a change. Our emotional body absorbs with Scorpio. Now, interesting, Libra, because the concept of we all have every sign in our chart, it's just a matter of where. I really believe that line of study to be really accurate. If you're a Libra rising, then your second house of talent and worth and financial stability and potential, material potential, is ruled by Scorpio. So in some ways that maybe tells me that you're quite intuitive in the workplace, but that your work really does mean a lot to you. It's not just bread and butter, like what you do to turn a coin and to take care of yourself is really something that's kind of sewn into the fabric of your emotions. To have an eclipse here is a potential to experience some massive change, some massive shedding as to that part of our lives. It's potentially quite exciting. Now, however, we are experiencing a bit of turbulence with this eclipse too, unfortunately, because the sun and the moon, obviously they're in opposite signs to form that full moon, that full vibrant lunation of the sun's energy onto the moon's surface. The sun's still in Taurus, the moon's in Scorpio. Unfortunately, Saturn is hovering at 25 degrees in Aquarius, forming a rather sharp T-square. Now, what I mean by that is that there is some conflicting energy. So as far as like the energetic fields ping-ponging back and forth, Saturn is there and is affecting the energetic flow of what's going on with this lunation. So Saturn is the planet of constriction and restriction. If we visualize it and remember the rings of Saturn, they tend to represent that idea of restriction, rules, the boundaries in life. Potentially really positive stuff. In a square, that can be a competing, conflicting energy. Now, as a Libra rising, Aquarius rules your fifth house, and that's the creative zone. That's the love affair, children, all of the heart-led things that we experience are all to do with the fifth house. It's really a playful, beautiful, sexy, gregarious kind of house. All of the pleasure zones, not so Taurian in pleasure as far as beautiful food and fabrics and all of that kind of stuff, but more vivacious. It's a traditionally a Leo house, so think about the attributes of Leo. For it to be ruled by Aquarius in your chart is really lovely, because that leads me to believe that there is a real sense of kind of community when it comes to these parts. You love to collaborate, you love to I was going to say make love with lots of people. And I'm going to stick with that because maybe you do. You don't have to, but that could definitely be a sort of Aquarian fifth house aspect. Now, the restriction around that is interesting. And that's what's going to perhaps have a part to play in this lunation with the eclipse in Scorpio. There could be some emotional bonds that come up, one too many. There could be too many players on the cast for it to work out. I want to talk to you about the tarot cards that line up with the 25 degree marks in each of these signs, because it's very interesting as a 3-card reading. The Taurus card for 25 degrees is the 7 of Pentacles, which talks about that moment of before the harvest, waiting for the seeds to take root, sort of waiting for all of your hard work to germinate and to grow, and wondering if it was all worth it, being a bit exhausted by the hard labor without any fruits to reap just yet. 25 degrees of Scorpio is the Seven of Cups. So that does talk about a sort of emotional indecision, the idea of something, too many pathways in some way, almost not being able to focus on one, or scared to take the wrong turn, so therefore taking nothing, of sort of illusionary kind of imaginings of what emotional fulfillment feels like rather than experiencing it with the body. And 25 degrees in Aquarius is the Seven of Swords, and this is maybe a difficult-ish energy. It sometimes is called the card of the thief. It's sometimes about truth being let out, about somebody not giving everything away, of editing themselves in order to gain. Or it could be about needing to escape a situation with what you can pick up as well. But that's more of the Six of Swords energy. This is sort of the Seven does sort of talk about deception in some way, sort of leaving bits out. Now, how can we relate that to the Moon and the Sun and Saturn? I wonder if there is something in the way that you earn money, or the way that you provide for yourself and for your family, whatever that word means to you, that is leaving you dissatisfied. Perhaps you're feeling a bit of shame around the idea of this Seven of Cups, I never really landed on something and went for it. I've been a jack of all trades for a lot of my life. Or I've focused too heavily in one direction and it's just not washing with me anymore. It doesn't resonate. It doesn't feel like this is what I want to do. That's really interesting. And I think what you should do is maybe even look forward. If that's the case, look forward to this eclipse as this enforced shedding of perhaps what it was that you did for a living before you won't be doing anymore, because the eclipse has intervened and moved things for you. That could be a really nice way to look at this. The Seven of Swords energy lingering around your fifth house, however, is a little bit peculiar. Now, I wonder if you're content being half of yourself. Is there in the creative flow of life, in the sort of the fun and the fun and beauty of sexuality, or perhaps it's in relationship to your children or the children that are in your periphery. Perhaps you're not presenting them with the truth about yourself. Perhaps there's things that you're concealing in some way, or perhaps things are being kept from you in that world. I wonder how that will interact with this indecision about your earning potential. There might be a restriction that comes up in that fifth house energy. There could be rules that rear their heads to say, no, you can't do that. This is not what we do. This is what we do. This is what a responsible adult does, or this is what a decent civilian does. That could sort of come up too. But be mindful of it, and don't allow yourself to fall into a space of being judged. I would really advise against that. So they're the traditional cards for these degrees in the zodiac, but I've also pulled you from a different deck 3 cards from a full tarot deck, just to see if there's any other messages that Spirit would like for you to sit with at this eclipse. And I got some really lovely cards that kind of correlate to the sevens. I've got the High Priestess, which is number 2 in the Major Arcana. I have the 5 of Pentacles that we examined at the solar eclipse, which is that card of being left out in the cold and the fear of being shut out. And I got the 6 of Cups, which is the soulmate card, which is the inner child card. It's the cosmic dance with that little one that you were. It's that space of finding somebody that reminds you of who you were when you were a little kid. And if we look at this story, the High Priestess being our intuition, being our knowing, our inner knowing, coming out to play, coming out to not offer the secrets, but hold the secrets for us. If we think about the 5 of Pentacles, of that fear of being cut off, but the 6 of Cups being so emotionally fulfilling, it's different to the 7 of Cups, which is emotionally gaseous and ungrounded. The 6 is still a Scorpio card, but the 6 talks about that meeting of the souls and that joy. to sew all of this together, I'm getting a lovely sense that whatever pressure or whatever rules that you feel bound by in regards to perhaps your sexuality, it could be in regards to your creative potential. That could be something that has been stifled, or that you've been actively feeling a bit congested right now because Saturn's lingering there. I like to believe that the moon is more powerful than all of them. And she's going to blast through this message and touch you and let you know where to go from here. I wonder what the relationship between your 5th and your 2nd house is. What's the relationship between that creative realm and your potential to make money? What's that relationship between your sexuality and your potential to make money too? That's an interesting thing to think about. Don't feel that you've wasted any time, is how I'm going to close this thing up. I keep on looking at our character in the 7 of Pentacles, our Taurus, who's just looking at that bloody garden. Nothing's growing. Bits of it are going brown. They're exhausted. And they're just wondering, when are these pentacles going to flourish and flower? I have a feeling that they will, because this is the first lunation in Scorpio in this eclipse axis. So we're going to be dealing with this 2 to 8th to 2 to 8th energy for you until I think it's like July 2023. So it's a long time. Everything that's happening over this weekend is a catalyst for big change to come, and potentially really beautiful change. Well, Libra, I might leave it there. Thank you very much for being here with me and allowing me to talk you through the skies. I'm really into the idea of chatting on the microphone rather than writing the horoscopes. I've gotten a really great response so far. So this might be a permanent thing. Save me tapping away. I might save the tapping away for special occasions. Anyway, if you wanted a private reading with me, I do offer them on my website, umaruby.com. You can get a birth chart reading or a tarot reading, or both. I also have a blog, as I said, and there's information about a painting project that I've been working on too. There's a whole bunch of stuff there related to this planet and our place in it, and how worthy and excited we should be for being able to experience it at this point in time, no matter how difficult it can sometimes feel. I love you very much. I'm going to sign off. Full moon blessings, eclipse blessings. Don't be frightened. We're not beholden to astrology. We're not doomed to that. This is all used to help create some understanding for ourselves and to help create some level of empathy for ourselves, which is sometimes a difficult thing to have, particularly for a Libran. You've got a lot of empathy for others and your eyes are always on the prize of their needs. Sometimes it's good to have your needs considered too. All right, I'm off. Take care. Love you.